Hey friends, it's Amelia and Dalion with Spiritual Fit Yoga, and I'm here to go on live again for Project See My Face. So I see our guest today, Yogi Go Up. We have Alison Buchanan. So those of you who are new here, I'm going to say something before I bring Alison on. So this is a project I started a couple of weeks ago, and I've been interviewing friends to get tips on how to get comfortable in front of the camera. And something that I have discovered in producing these Instagram lives, especially because I'm saving them and posting them to YouTube afterwards, and even here on Instagram, is that there's a little bit of a delay. And sometimes it sounds like we are talking on top of each other in the recording. So when I interview Alison today, I'm actually going to be slowing down and like letting her finish her sentence. And it's not like if we were talking in person where we might be bantering and being a little bit quicker in our responses, but I'm going to give it a little bit of space just so the recording doesn't sound like we're being rude and talking on top of each other. Anyway, so I want to welcome Alison whenever she's ready. She'll join to request. And you might notice that in the recordings that it kind of pixelates and it looks like they go away. We go away for a little bit in the sound and the audio, but it's just Instagram doing its thing to, it's kind of like the transporter to get her here. All right, I'm going to accept her request. Coming on. So like I said, there's just this little delay. So now you're going to see we're in the live streaming of Instagram, and then ta-da!
The magic of
voila,
Instagram.
She's here. Magic of Instagram. Okay, you know what? I had you in my AirPods, but now I feel like I'm not. Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to double check this. Back. I'm coming back. Okay. Now. Okay, great. Now I can hear you better. Maybe you can hear me better. Welcome, Alison.
I'm very excited to be part of this.
Yeah. Yay, yay. So those of you that don't know Alison, and I'm going to let her introduce herself also. So I met Alison, and you're going to have to help my memory. So first of all, I do have to correct myself, and you caught me because in my last interview with Yoga Shanna, I always introduce the next guest, at the end of the interview. And I did mention that you're a certified Baptiste yoga teacher because we met each other at a Baptiste training, I believe. I think it was Art of Assisting, maybe. And I think I said you were a news anchor. So, and I guess it's a news reporter. So this is not the news. So I didn't do the fact checking. So this is just Instagram Live. So we're going to hear more from Alison, like the real facts about who you are and what you were doing in the past. So I just want to say the reason I asked Alison as one of my guests on this Project See My Face is because one, I've seen you on Instagram, sharing your videos. Her handle is Yogi Go Up, not Yogi Goop. I know she mentioned that as Yogi Go Up. So you'll see her offering a lot of handstand drills and workshops and courses. You'll see that's on her page. And I just feel like she's so great at her online presence. So I want to ask her about that. And also knowing that she has or had a career as literally being in front of the camera. And I thought I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And I'm going to do that now because I just got a call. These little things, all these little things.
No worries.
Little things to set up. All right. So Alison, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. So tell us a little bit about you and where you're at right now, and yoga and news reporter, whatever you want to share.
First of all, and you're right, we met long ago. I've been teaching yoga professionally for over 11 years now, which seems like crazy to say that. And we met at a Baptiste yoga training. I don't even know which one. I did many of them, and kept meeting over and over again. Since that time, my teaching has evolved. I did a lot of yoga training as well as anatomy in really understanding alignment. and then breath work. So with all that, now I've kind of created my own thing, and that's kind of why I, wanted to mention that I'm no longer certified in terms of Baptiste, but I'm doing just a really strong practice, generally speaking, both my own as well as I bring to others. I've noticed some people are joining who I know. One person joined from my hometown.
Say
I grew up in a
hello.
little town in BC called Fernie, and I think Roy, I don't know if he's still on, but hi, Roy, if you're still there. Nice to see you. So anyways, what about me? Where do you want to start? I don't even know if you want to start like way back. Let's like flip it way back, or where you want to start with the yoga. You tell me, Amelia. How do you want to start?
Yeah. So anything that well, the first question actually that I've been asking a lot of the guests were you ever camera shy?
That's a great question. What's funny is I became a reporter because I loved telling stories and I like writing. And I actually had no idea what was involved with being in front of a camera. And when I started having to do the reports, I went through Northwestern's graduate program, the Medill School of Journalism. And when we were starting to put together reports and I was in front of the camera, yes, definitely felt like, oh my God, everyone's watching. People are going to see this. But then I had to really kind of focus it into, I'm talking to one person, just like I'm talking to you. So I would have my photographer, my videographer would be my camera person that day. And then all the days I did as I was a reporter. And it becomes a lot more comfortable. You're talking to one person as opposed to this army of people. And so really kind of bringing it back to having a conversation, delivering the facts, telling people and conveying whatever it is you need to convey, as opposed to feeling like you're trying to speak to the masses, even though you are through this lens. It doesn't really feel that way when you're able to really speak to one, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And then how is talking to the camera as a news reporter, how is that different from what you're doing now?
Great question. Also, my little brother just joined. Hi, Dano.
He did. Who is this? Is this tiny little humans?
Two little,
is it
that? Tiny little humans. So they're very cute little humans. So yeah, talking now. So right now, I feel like anybody could be a reporter. We all are armed with this little computer called a phone, and we take great video, like crystal clear video, crystal clear audio. You can edit on your phone. You can just put it out there. Anyone can do it. A lot of people, are vloggers now. And so it's becoming easier, I think, for more and more people to be in front of the camera. So what's different is, as a reporter, like I said earlier, my job was to convey the facts. My job was to gather the news, and then the story isn't about me. I'm the voice, and I might be the face that you see at the beginning, but it's not about me. And I actually treat what I do on Instagram the same way. I actually think it's really important that we, as, if you want to call us content creators, or I don't think of myself as an influencer, but if you want to use that word, great. It really is in our power to share what we can share, and to be really authentic about that share. And the best way to just show up, do that, convey whatever you're wanting to convey, as opposed to trying to do what you think other people want to see. I think that has been a big step for me, moving from news, where it's all fact-based, driven by whatever is happening, to now I'm putting out content based on yoga and wellness. It's a very different type of content, but again, it comes from a very authentic place.
Yeah, that's so great. That's funny. I think we actually are content creators. All of us that are putting out tutorials and anybody, right? We're creating content. It's interesting. I don't know what the line is between content creator to influencer. I don't know if it's the number of followers, or I don't know, but I also think that you're an influencer. You make an impact. Me too. We're influencers. I don't think it has to be like the number of followers that you have, to make an influence or to make an impact.
I agree with
that,
actually.
An impact.
Now that you say it that way, especially the word impact, maybe we could change the name from influencer to I don't know, impactor, is that even a word? But I just,
Impactor.
no, it makes sense because what's interesting is I connect with so many people in different ways. You either connect with people in the studio, you connect with people like this, through your posts, whatever it might be. And people will come out of the woodwork later and say, you know, that thing you said that one time in class, that's stayed with me, you know, and things like that really are powerful for me because, like you're saying, that's creating an impact. And that might be more important than trying to influence. You know, the term influencer sometimes comes with this connotation of someone trying to sell something or look a certain way, or, you know, and I think as a yoga person, who not just teaches it, but tries to live really authentically, you want to come out telling people who you are as opposed to who, you know, you're hoping they'll turn into and follow you because you're the influencer. So I like that term. Like, I think we should change it up and call ourselves
to impactor.
Absolutely.
Come up with something. That's such a good idea. All right. So, okay, but did you say where you're at?
What I'm doing
right now?
You mean, oh, where?
No, where? Like where so geographically?
Seattle, Washington. And I know you're originally from Port Angeles. I'm actually going to be there in 2 weeks.
Yay.
Send me all your tips. I'm going to be there.
For,
what
are you
going to do there? Is really into golf, and he has a golf tournament in Port Angeles. And so we're going, renting a house. We're going to spend the weekend in Port Angeles. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you should have reached out to me. You know, I have a vacation rental.
I think I may have, and it
Did you know that?
Slipped my mind.
Yeah. Is he going to Port Angeles golf course or Dungeness golf course in Sequim?
Yeah.
Is it Dungeness? Oh yeah, that's a really nice.
Anyways, we got off
course.
topic. I don't even know where we were.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yes. So, that's okay. That's all right. Because I want people to know like where you are. I know did I meet you in Seattle or did I meet you in the Bay Area?
I don't remember. I might have been, if it was art.
Was it San Francisco?
Where you at? I lived in Menlo Park, California for many years. And I don't remember which training we met at, but I was living in California when I was doing the trainings. Yeah. So maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah. I think it was Art of Assisting in San Francisco, Baptist Yoga San Francisco, I think. No.
Okay. It might have been one of the many other ones. But we've known each other for a long time now. And kind of coming in and out of each other's lives.
And did you work for, did you teach at Rebecca's studio?
I taught Vibe Yoga for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I've been back in the Seattle area it'll be 5 years in August. Yeah.
Okay, great. And you said that you lived in Fernie. Fernie, BC. Where's Fernie?
Oh, it's very
in relation to Vancouver or Victoria
or
where?
Closer to the Alberta border, kind of tucked in right in the Rocky Mountains. Beautiful little town, great skiing. If anybody is interested, it's a little, thumbs up for Fernie. Go there. Nice. So beautiful place to grow up. Yay. And then since then, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is off topic too. But my daughter and I, when she was younger, we haven't watched it in a long time. There's a show called Heartland, and it's based in Calgary and Alberta, and it's the most beautiful landscape. I don't know. It's the most beautiful landscape. Anyway, so that's off topic. Okay, so you're sharing where you're at geographically and currently in Seattle.
Like I said, I've been teaching yoga for a long time, 11 years, full-time, everything from corporate to private to studio I created a program where I volunteered and taught at the San Mateo County Women's Jail. And I taught that for 3 years. Every Thursday morning, I showed up for these wonderful women. And it was really powerful because often yoga can be looked at as a very privileged thing to do, even though anybody can do it. It comes with sometimes a studio membership or just paying for the gear even. And these women who are in jail are sometimes forgotten about. And so it was really powerful to show up for them every Thursday. And they would say to me, thank you for seeing us and thank you for being with us. And in many ways, even though I was teaching them, they were teaching me so much. And so I did that for a long time. So I've done all this different. I did some yoga for kids in my kids' classrooms when they were little. And now, and then I with the pandemic, I did virtual, and I'm mostly still doing virtual. I'm really enjoying virtual, and I just returned it to a studio class this past month. First time teaching in studio in 3 years, and that has been kind of fun to get back to that as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a great studio.
Where are you teaching?
Props to the studio called Drift Yoga. It's a women-owned business here in Seattle.
Okay.
If you're familiar with the Seattle area, it's in South Lake Union. Beautiful studio. So please come visit me if you're, or just visit the studio if you can.
Yeah. So great. So great. Well, going back to teaching in the prison. So that's partly, Project See My Face is more than tips to be seen on camera. So, the tie into yoga, and those of you that have been listening to these since, I think this is the 6th episode now, I've mentioned that, to be seen, we talk about that a lot in yoga, and that can be something that like I struggled with that, and then off camera, and then what is it about being on camera that I was struggling with, and it's been really great actually having conversations with all of my guests to talk about it a little bit more. But when our students come to class, that's what a lot of us want, is to be seen, to be noticed, and to be led in a way through our practice, or maybe through our dialogue, or sharing the Yoga Sutras, whatever we're sharing, is to also be comfortable seeing ourselves.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I think that what's great is in the yoga studio, it's a great equalizer. You could have, a whole group of people practicing and flowing and breathing and being in community, and you wouldn't know that one of them's a heart surgeon, and one of them's a teacher, and one of them's a janitor. Who knows, right? There's all sorts of professions, but on the mat, I should say, we're all just kind of equal, and it's a great, powerful thing. And that's what I found in teaching at the jail. It was really, really a great way to say, hey, we might have all had different circumstances and choices, but we're all here in community. Yeah. And for me, if I can also add to that, and then we can move on, it was also powerful for me because I used to, as a reporter, report the news on the suspects, the people who then go to the jails, right? It was almost detached in that way. And then here I am being on the side of connecting heart to heart with these people. It was really powerful to have those two very separate worlds kind of coming together for me.
Right. Yeah. And how did you start teaching in the jail? I don't know if you mentioned that.
I done this great training with a gentleman whose name is James Fox, and he has something called the Prison Yoga Project that you may have heard of. And I did training with him, and there was something about that training that just made me go, I don't think I'm doing enough. I'm teaching in Silicon Valley, like I said, lots of really well-to-do people, lovely, but still well-to-do, who can afford to take these classes. Where can I be helpful? Where can I connect with other people? And then I created a proposal, and I submitted it to the county, and it was accepted. And I think now, I passed it on before I moved, and I think now the teachers are getting a small stipend, like a little bit of pay. Before it was completely, we were all doing it voluntarily. It was myself and one other teacher, and that was it. But now I think they get a little bit of money, which is nice.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that is so great. I love that. I love hearing that. Yeah. So about getting comfortable on the camera. So what tips do you have? I don't know, anything from your reporter days to maybe what you've been learning about, creating videos or talking live on. Crazy. And this is your first Instagram Live,
first Instagram
right?
Live.
Yeah. So I get to interview you. And you've in the past as a reporter, were you interviewing other people or reporting on other people? Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your tips.
About that. I was like, why haven't I done an Instagram Live? I don't know. I've done so many other actual live shots. So that is, speaking of things that are little, they spark fear, let's say, is a full live shot, different than Instagram Live. Like live, you're going live, you hear the producer talking in your ear, you're gonna be live in 2, you're gonna be live in 30. and then you're live and you're telling them about the scene or whatever
Yeah.
it is, and then you've got to wrap it up, and there's a lot going on, people talking as you're trying to deliver what you're trying to deliver. So that said, luckily, if you're working on just being on the camera without all of that stuff, I think it's easier, number one. But I think I touched on it. The first tip I shared early, I think I touched on it, was being authentic, right? And these tips are tips for me, for also showing up as a yoga teacher. Like, being authentic on camera means not changing your voice in any way, which I don't know if you've experienced, but I've gone into a yoga class and the teacher talks like this. And then later after class, the teacher talks like this. And I think, why did you do that? Why did you change your voice so much that you, did you think it was more soothing for us? Like, I would rather have a fully authentic teacher who just jokes or, makes mistakes, and it's okay. And so that is probably my biggest one, is being authentic on camera, and not trying to be like maybe the influencers you see or just anybody else. And the yoga world is saturated. Really, if you look at how many yoga people are on Instagram, it's beyond nuts. And so just being yourself, I think there's an Oscar Wilde who said, "Be yourself, everyone else is taken," right? It's exactly that. Yeah. So that's tip one. I don't know if you have any questions or thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yes, I have experienced that before. And I've actually seen it in yoga teacher training with teacher trainees, that they're one way and then they get up in front, practice teaching, and then they switch and they lose like their signature, like whether it's their voice or their style, because there's some preconceived notion that a yoga teacher is supposed to look a certain way or sound a certain way. Yoga teachers aren't allowed to swear or whatever, it's just like, well, if that suits you, then you do you. And then the people that want to take your class, that resonate with you, they'll take your class, right? Because it's too exhausting. It's too exhausting, like trying to stand up and be somebody else.
One of your guests actually said that about, I want to say it's Yogashana. She said she likes to teach arm balances, and she says, and look, it doesn't maybe resonate with everyone. The people who like what I teach will find me, and that's perfect. And I think that is brilliant. Everyone should find what inspires you, what you're passionate about, and that's going to come across, and that's what is going to help you, whether it's be on camera or be in front of a room, because as a yoga teacher, you are basically going live every single time, right? You're standing in front of that audience, so to speak, and delivering. And not just delivering so they listen, but delivering so that they move their bodies in certain ways, right? So you have to be really clear about how you speak and how you share what you want them to then do. Yeah. So tip number one is, I would say, be really truly yourself. And then for tip number two, this tip is a tip I would give for any budding on-air talent, would be ditch the script, right? We have these scripts that I've had lots of people are joining, by the way, and I just want to say hi to Bonnie. Bonnie's from, I had some other people
say hi
around, but lots of people from different parts of my life are joining, which is kind of fun. Anyways, back to ditch the script. It's really, I'm going to speak to it as a reporter, and then of course it can be used as a public speaker. It can be used as a yoga teacher, all those things. She's leaving me.
I'm here.
Okay.
My dog wanted to come up onto my lap. I didn't leave you. He was like bugging me. And I was like, okay, he wants to say hi to Alison.
This exciting live. So
this was one of the tips the first guest said was, bring your pets into your IG lives. It's like, okay, sure. So sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel like I left you. I should have announced that first. What is she doing?
No worries. So the idea of ditching the script is, when you're a reporter, you are generally given facts. And if you are going live,
did I I lose you? Oh, there you are, I
I
think.
put it on Do Not Disturb, but then it disturbed me. So
Now
I
I hear.
apologize for that. I don't know
Okay.
why. And it was
Okay.
one of those spam calls on
That's
top of
okay.
it. Sorry.
Oh, I know. That's what I had too. It said no caller ID, the one that I got. Maybe they're both calling
I
us. Did they get our
apologize.
numbers?
But this is a
That's
great
okay.
way to point to really drive my point home about ditching the script. Now, if I had a script and that happened, I would be completely thrown off.
Yeah.
So what tends to happen in journalism
Right.
school is, they'll teach you, they'll say, okay, you're doing a fake live. The building is burning and 20 people are still caught inside, and this, whatever. They'll give you some facts, and this happened in my J school. And so you have to go pretend you're live and tell all these things. Now, when I first started, I had the script, and the script was like dot, dot, dot. And if I said one thing that was just a little bit weird, then I was like, oh gosh, where am I? Where am I in my script? Because it totally threw me off.
Yeah.
So I really think anytime you're in front of the camera, in front of the people teaching, in front of a larger group talking, what are your points? Know your points. Get those points across, and everything else will flourish around it. I really think that's important, because if we get too stuck on the script, it's just like forgetting one side of something. We all do that, don't we? Right? Like if you're like teaching a class and then you flow and you forget the side, and then you go to the other side, you go, wait, and then you get all confused. It's okay. They're not going to walk around in circles all day. They're going to be okay. If as long as you just continue with your own flow, I think that's really important.
Yeah. So I just want to say hi to Manfred. I don't know if he's still here. He was our tour guide at our last yoga retreat in Costa Rica. And I know you do retreats too. Okay. So I want to hear about your retreats and stuff that's coming up. But do you feel like, and I don't know if it's chicken and the egg, but as a reporter, and then you said like 3, 2, 1, go live, you're live. I also feel like we're live when we're teaching yoga. Like, I don't know, I guess you could use a script. I don't teach with a script. I don't teach with a script myself. So I tend to memorize my sequence. Not that it's bad to do either way, but you don't know who's going to show up in your class. You don't know if somebody is going to ask a question. You don't know if somebody's going to fall out of a pose. I mean,
I agree with that.
What do you think about that?
I actually think that they're exactly not exactly the same, but very similar, because you might go into your class saying, oh, you know what, today I really want to work on, I don't know, spinal extension and like back bends and opening up. And then everyone comes and goes, oh, I've got some sort of pain, or something happens. Or what's happened recently is I go into a class and I have these ideas. I've never memorized. It's kind of like a group of ideas, and then I work around them. And I look at the class, and as they're moving, I go, oh my gosh, they need to really work on their planks. Like I can't be teaching them arm balances if they don't have a proper plank, so then right in the moment you change it, right? So it's the same thing. If you had that script and you were so stuck on it, you're going to be teaching your class, but not, the audience isn't ready for that. The students aren't ready for that. So it's like you have to kind of roll with the punches on that one. I agree with that. Yeah.
Right. Great. All right. Do you have another tip?
And simple. Give yourself a break. Right. So we've all done it. I know I've done it. You go to record something. It's not perfect. You record it again. You delete it. Da, da, da. Yeah. After a while, just like, do it to your best ability, but take 37 is not the take you want, right? Just again, going back, this is kind of goes back to being authentic. If you're really wanting to present on camera, then it's okay to mess up. Like, give yourself a break, allow the failures, let's say, to happen, because those stumbles will help teach you for the next time. And I think we're trying a little too hard to be too perfect all the time. Yeah. And I mean, luckily, because most of the time with things that we post, we're able to stop and re-record, etc. In news, you get one chance, generally speaking. So if you have a problem, whether it's technical or you mess up, you also have to kind of just, again, ditch the script. Like it kind of all works together, and then find out how you can continue on rather than get stuck.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So from news
Mm-hmm.
reporting or just being in front of the camera, do you have any other tips about like whatever you learned? I mean, just technical. I mean, I know some of our guests have talked about
Yeah.
lighting, maybe angles, like how do you set up your shot? How do you set yourself up when you're recording your it looks like you might be sharing like clips
Yeah.
from live
So
classes sometimes that I see on your
I do. I
feed
share
or yeah, go ahead.
lots of times clips from live classes. I have had a love-hate relationship with social media. Maybe we all have. And I have come to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
realize that for me, I need to use it to share, like I said earlier, authentically, whatever I feel I can help and guide and give tips. So if you looked at my page, it's not gorgeous or pretty in any specific way, but I am usually, every once in a while you'll see like, hey, we went skiing as a family, but very much so I stick to yoga and fitness. And usually it's tips like, hey, this is a tip for press handstand. This is a great way to work rotation. If you're a walker, runner, human being, like rotation in your spine, whatever it might be. So I kind of want to share. And again, it probably, parlays back to the fact that I was a reporter where the story isn't about me. It's about bringing information to others. And so that's what I put out there. And it has to be really, has to come naturally for me, or else I won't be on social media. Where some people, they like to share more, they like to do more stuff where they're being seen, which is great. I could do that, but I like to just say, hey, this is something I've worked on. Give it a go. See if it works in your body. How does it feel? Yeah, so I'd say that has been a big thing for me, is really being okay with how I show up with social media and how it shows up for me, and setting boundaries around it, because it can really take over your life. Yeah. And so when I
Right.
share clips of classes, I think that's where I was coming back to, I'm already recording it for my membership. I have an online membership, and I do a live class every week. And so I record that class and I share the clip because it's already just there. It's easy. And then if I share clips from a workout or something, the lighting is not always perfect. I know that I could make it more perfect sometimes, but it's about, again, like, this is working right now for me. I want to share that with whoever wants to listen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so great because I agree with you because there's only so much time, but depending on what
Absolutely.
effort you want to put into it, only so much time I personally want to, spend on social media or on Instagram, posting, creating content. But what I'm actually really appreciating from all of these different interviews is realizing that there's so many different approaches to how we create our content, that there's not really, I see these courses and I know you see them, like these ads come up, like, what do you need to do? You need to create more reels. You need to show your face more. You need to use these hashtags. You need to, it's just like, and it's not actually true. You need to figure out the algorithm. I mean, you could do that, or you could even just be authentic in how you choose to create your content. It doesn't have to be like Yoga Shannon. She's got this beauty, and that's her thing. She loves branding, and you can see that on her page. My page, it's like, I don't know, it's okay. But I don't put a lot of effort into that. I might a little bit have more consistency, learn from Shanna, and I'm not sure I have to decide if I want to put that time.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Amelia, because I think I'm the same way. I went through these, like, it was like a bit of a roller coaster of posting and emotions at the same time, of like, okay, I gotta be trendy. I gotta grab this trendy sound, and I'm gonna only make it. Now everyone's attention spans like shrunk to this much, so you can only make your video 7 seconds long, like all these things. But then I think, is that me? And again, we come back, and I feel like I'm the authentic whisperer right now, because if I did that, great, I would be spending more time, and if I loved it, awesome. But I don't, and I like to post here and there. I'm not regular, like some people are, like every day at a certain time. They're very thoughtful about it. and I'm less so, mostly because it will zap my energy, and I want to continue doing this. So I want to continue posting, and people will find you who love you or who love what you're posting, and that's cool. And don't, used to get all involved in the likes and the follows and the unfollows, and you start going a little bit crazy if you just really think about all these things, and then you go, well, I can't please everybody. It comes back to doing what you want and how you can create what you're creating and really be proud of it, right? You're putting out that content because it makes you happy. And it also, if I can just also add to that, I've got 2 teenage boys. I know you have a teenage daughter. I think it's really important as their parent to show them it's not all about likes and follows. I put this out there, and I remember my younger son, he has a little YouTube channel that he puts on like golf videos, and he really works hard. He edits it. He puts in cool sound effects and stuff. And one time he said, only like X amount of people saw it. I said, that doesn't matter. Like, you worked so hard on that. And, that is great learning for you. And you were really proud of it. And I want them, so I'm trying to lead by example. It's okay if you have 5 likes. So 5 likes is better than no likes, if, or whatever it might be. It's okay. You have to be really proud of what you're putting out there. And so I'm trying to lead by example in that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah, I know my friend Amy, she's on here. I think Lovey, she joined on, and several other parents on here also.
Yeah.
A great
it's
reminder.
Easy for us to all get stuck in that social media. I don't know, it feels like a drain sometimes. Sometimes it really lifts you up. It depends what you're looking at. But if it ever feels like it's heavy, take a step back and then say, how am I really using this? Is it benefiting me? Is it helping me share what I'd like to share? Or am I just doing it to get the so-called likes and follows? Like, I think that for me, I really had to investigate that a little bit and thoughtful about what I'm putting out there.
Yeah, and likes and follows don't necessarily generate sales or memberships, right? So I think you and I are similar in how we approach our page or our content creation. And it sounds like you also might be similar, that you still get your memberships. You're still selling out your retreats. I saw that you posted you recently you sold out your Croatia retreat. And I think, were you at Topia? Were you in Mexico? Yeah. So I saw some photos like, oh, I think I recognize Shelley's place. I haven't been there yet, but I've been looking at dates to maybe host a retreat there. So I'll have to talk to you about it offline. But so what do you think about that in terms of like, how important is your page for your business?
I thought it was going to be much more important, but I find that the people who love you even if you didn't have a page. And stay in touch with you even if you didn't have a page. So I have met some really great people thanks to Instagram. I have friends in very foreign places like Finland and etc. So I have all these, these connections now thanks to Instagram. But business-wise, for me at least, it's not generating the business that I thought it could and would. And perhaps that's where someone like Yogashana could be useful. I know you talked to her about possibly, being a mentor or something, like doing a business for that. And I think that'd be smart because, if you don't love doing this, maybe hiring someone who does, if it's important to you, if you want to generate business. But the way you and I are doing it is, it sounds like we're mostly just enjoying what we enjoy and then putting it out there as people like to see it.
Yeah. I am applying the tips that I'm getting from everybody though. So the ones that are really like, they're like, I think both Yogashana and Yogi McGee, who was my first guest. I mean, I think they have like 15,000 followers and they put a lot of effort. They like are very intentional and organized and how they create their content. So I have adopted a couple of their tips, trying to see, and just making sure that I just don't want it to be anything that is draining my energy, and remembering what I really want to do is teach yoga. and not spend so much time doing the marketing. And I'm building my business. So it is smart. If you are a business owner and an entrepreneur, put some time into this free marketing platform. Mostly free, unless you're doing ads, which I actually have never done that before. I haven't explored that, but I'm doing everything free.
I was surprised that you said that you were shy, at least camera shy, because I think you show up really, really bright and shiny. You don't seem shy.
You know what? I'm so shiny. I was sweaty when I came on today. I swear. Okay, so I don't know if you saw my very first interview, but when I was talking to Yogi McGee, I was like, okay, my palms are sweating, my armpits are sweating. It's like, what is? But I keep putting myself in front of the camera. I am getting more comfortable with it, though. It is feeling a little bit more like relaxed. But yeah, I was like, I didn't like how I looked on the camera. There was so much self-criticism after I would do it. I was like your son, that would say, oh, I didn't get very many likes. So what does that mean? And then I would just like spiral into this. It's like, why am I doing this? So it's a combination of camera shy, social anxiety, confident. It was bringing stuff up that I didn't know if it was like helpful for me. But I did want to look at it, because I think there's actually an opportunity for me to overcome a fear. It's like, where is this coming from? And I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I do know that it stems from me being ridiculed for how I looked, especially when I was a kid, like in elementary school, because of the color of my skin, because of my slanty eyes, maybe my round, maybe being short. I mean, there are multiple, and like repeated comments about that I learned not to like how I looked. And actually, it's going to make me cry. But it's something that I want to overcome. And this little project really is helping me. I'm hoping I can share tips with everybody, whoever decides to watch it, from my guests. But I can see that it's actually helping me a lot, just putting myself out there and talking to other people and finding out, one, I may not be alone, and then two, learning some tips that I can apply. And it's not the end of the world when I do these interviews. I'm not dying after these interviews.
I think that you, first of all, I love that you shared that. It was really beautiful, and thank you for sharing that with me about, your feelings, especially from childhood. I do think that the sweaty palms, like the feeling of the feelings that come up with a bit of fear, right? That's actually maybe can be a healthy thing. Like, we can flip the script on that, right? The idea that the fear could hold us back, or why don't we think of the fear that could propel us forward? Because a lot of times what our body manifests and the physiological changes that go on in our body when we are feeling fearful are the same as when we're feeling excited. Like, your heart might beat faster. So if we get kind of flip the script saying, well, am I fearful or am I excited? Like, you could change it and still kind of harness the good parts of that. That makes sense. And I always believe that you tend to feel these feelings, the sweaty palms or whatever, because you are invested. I still will stand in front of a class. I've been teaching for a long time, but there are times I'll still stand in just before class starts, and I'll just feel that, like, they'll skip. My heart will just, and it's because I care so much about providing a great experience, and I want people to be happy and leave happy. And so I actually think that it's not a negative thing to have those sensations that you're feeling, but it's allowing our brain to take over and say, oh, I'm too scared to do it. It's to flip it there and say, I'm feeling this. How can that work for me?
Yeah. So, that's so great. Thanks for listening and acknowledging. And my daughter, I say this a lot, but my daughter, when she was a kid, she would say, I'm nervous, I'm excited. She's like, I'm nervited. And it's like, we need to get that in the dictionary. And I don't think she coined it, because I think she might have heard it somewhere. I'm not sure, but it's just like, nervited. It's like, it's in that. It comes from the same physiological
I
place.
will say, I know that we'll have to wrap up so that we don't talk all afternoon, although I probably could.
Yeah.
I want to
I
say
know.
you said some technical stuff. I have big lights I use for my classes. Bought them on Amazon. They came in a pack of three, these really large studio lights. Because when I was teaching only, starting in 2020, only online, I needed to light up my space, especially living in Seattle where it's quite gray. So I needed to really light up the rooms I was in. So that's one thing. Lighting is really, really important. And then I try and keep it feeling like a studio experience if I'm teaching an online class by playing the music through the Zoom as well as having a microphone. So I record the class separately on my phone. And I mic myself. So the audio is very clear. I think that's very, very important as a yoga teacher. Whether you're teaching in person, online, your cues are key, right? And you know that. We've both been taught that over and over again. Cueing is so necessary. And so how you, again, it's like presenting the facts as a reporter. How you present that is important. So making sure your audio is spot on. Sometimes we don't realize we're all talking about the camera and how we present ourselves here, but it's how you present yourself also through your voice.
Yeah. Are you talking about recording or you're talking about teaching live,
So
like on Zoom?
I do both. I teach live on Zoom, but I don't always use, I don't really record to Zoom. I find that quality is quite poor. So I set up my camera separately. So as I'm teaching live, the camera set up, I'm mic'd. So that's picking up to my camera on my phone. And then it's a lot more of a curated look to that video.
Okay. So you have a camera.
Yes.
Your mic
and then
is talking to the camera.
These things.
And then and then you have
Zoom.
AirPods talking to Zoom. Is that what it is? Okay. Okay. So you don't record, you don't save your Zoom, which I noticed that too.
It's good,
The quality is not so good,
sometimes
right?
I'll do a separate class, like I'll do my HIIT yoga, I call it peak power. I'll just record it. It won't be live. It's just straight up recording. I have these 3 big studio lights up in my living room. I move things out. I make it look like a space that you'd want to practice in. And then it's very, that's a lot more curated look. Yeah.
Yeah. And your camera, is it a camera or is it your phone? What are you using?
Yes,
it's your phone. Okay,
phone.
Phones are great. I think phones are great to have great quality
I would actually,
videos.
If you're starting out, use a phone. If you really want to get fancy, you can get a fancy camera. But the phones, the quality is really, really crisp. And you get so many different mics that will pair with your phone that it's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you using for a mic?
The mic.
You got AirPods to your Zoom. And then what do you use
for? I don't remember the name of it. But you could again Google it or look on Amazon or something. But it has a Bluetooth connection, and then it's a wireless mic.
Okay.
And
I know the Rode wireless is really popular out there.
I'm not
I don't
sure
know. I don't know what else. But,
sorry.
Yeah. And are you practicing
online?
while
I do.
You're teaching?
I practice as I flow because I've tried to do the other where you sit and look, and my students I think don't. I've had feedback that it's odd to have the teacher just looking at them. That said, I know that when I teach in person in a studio, I don't practice, but I'm walking around and adjusting. I think because you're busying yourself with that. With the adjusting, it just feels like people like to see a thing when you're on Zoom. So I will move with them, and then I'll kind of, go down and look at them and check on them and comment, and then, flow again with them. So it's a bit of both. Yeah.
So good. So good.
I hope so.
Well, this has been so great, Alison,
been
connecting with you. And letting me interview you. Yeah, well, it's been helpful to me. I definitely appreciate it. And I know a lot of times people are watching afterwards. And what I do with this recording is I'll save it. Eventually you'll see that I'll be posted here on Instagram. And then I download it and I put it on my YouTube, my little meager YouTube channel, but I am creating a playlist called Project See My Face. So for all of these videos, so which I like actually. I appreciate it. I watch them.
Yeah. And
I learn from them.
questions for me, they can find me. I know you'll tag me and everything, and I'd love to answer them. The other thing I didn't get to talk about, but quickly, just like anything else, like when you are going live, like in front of a camera, when you're teaching a class, really try to be careful about setting limits for yourself. We're all so, I think that something happens to us, and maybe even more so being a woman, where we say, oh, you know, I can do that, but only to this point. And that my limit was shattered when I taught myself handstand at age 41. Like, I just was like, you know what, I'm going to try and do this. And I, boom, did it. And so I feel like we have to kind of stop doing that to ourselves. Like, oh, I'm nervous, I'm camera shy. Like, already you're pushing past that, where you're saying, I'm going to learn from others, and I'm not going to be camera shy anymore. I'm going to, you know, if I get a little sweaty, I'm going to feel it, but I'm still going to show up and do a great job. So it's all that kind of pushing past these, you know, self-imposed limitations that we find ourselves, in surrounding ourselves with.
I don't know if you've noticed on my page, but I've also, so my first handstand was at 45 and it wasn't super solid, you know, and I know that when we were at that training, it was an assisting training, and you were also like showing people how to get upside down. So you were teaching just kind of on the side, just getting upside down. It's like, oh my gosh, look at what she can do. So do you know Kyle Weiger? Do you know him? Has he been in a training? Okay, so I met him through Baptiste Yoga also. So he does, your drills look very similar to the handstand drills that he does. He studied with Cirque du Soleil people and whatever. But I was doing a handstand boot camp this morning, and I was just like, it's so hard. It's so hard. And it's okay. It's okay to, it's like I was remembering, oh my gosh, this conditioning, and I love it. It's like there's so much that you can learn about yourself getting upside down, and it's not too late, you know, and you just, I don't know, you just do what you can and make it fun.
At the same time, if you approach it like, I'm going to do a little bit every day, just like you're approaching this, I'm going to meet people and show up and put my face on a camera as often as possible, it becomes easier, and the pieces fall into place so that you're not saying, okay, now set my hands, do that. Like, you start just doing it more naturally. So you're right. I think learning something hard like handstand, or if someone's learning crow for the first time, whatever it might be, learning that hard thing is a great way to help you understand that it's just one of the many things you do in life. You know, it's you put that as a goal and you work toward it, and it's a pretty cool thing when you get to that point. Well, that point where you, for you maybe, where you're like, oh my God, I'm still in the sky and it's been 5 seconds, is a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Anyways, that was just
So share where people can follow you, find you, and feel free to share anything that you're like offering right now, any courses or retreats.
So I'm Yogi Go Up.
All the stuff.
It came about, that name actually, at a Baptiste training. I think Baron had said it as we were doing something, and it just clicked with me in that moment. Like, it's more than just going up in the pose, it's going up in life and how we feel. It's elevating each other. It's yogis, let's go up, right? So it just made sense. So that's how that came about. So I'm at Yogi Go Up, all in one thing. On Instagram, the website's the same, yogigoup.com. I have a handstand training. It's 30 days, but you can take as many days as you want to do it. And and I also lead retreats, usually one international retreat a year. I'm doing Croatia this year. Who knows, next year, stay in touch. And then what else? I teach online. I teach one in-person class. I'm not sure I'm fully done with the reporting thing, so stay tuned for that. Never know, I might return into the news world. There's a lot going on right now, and a good shift for me. Like, where am I? What's going on with my career path?
Yeah. That's so funny. The way you said that, it's like, stay tuned. I mean, I could just like imagine, it's like, is that a thing? Is that how you talk as a reporter? It sounded like a reporter persona.
A little more, less cutesy, a little more serious about that. So those are all the things.
Oh yeah. So you know what? I didn't ask you this. I was thinking about this question and I didn't ask you. I was going to ask you, do you miss reporting?
Yeah,
And it sounds like
I
you might
do
be
miss
getting back
it.
into
And I
it.
think you miss all the good stuff, right? Like if you stop teaching yoga, you'd miss the connections, you'd miss um, all the powerful things like that make you feel great, like in here, right? You probably wouldn't miss the finding a sub when you can't, all the harder things that come with reporting. So that said, I miss going live. Funny enough, I miss that adrenaline rush, that like, oh my gosh, I got to get all these facts and I got to deliver them right now. I've got 30 seconds to do so, or a minute. I miss that. I miss connecting with one-on-one with the photographer. You get assigned a photographer every day. You guys are a team. You're going around the city, gathering everything. So I miss that. And I miss it was really fun to be the first one on the scene, or the first one to share. I think news is changing so vastly now because anyone can, like I said earlier, be a reporter. We're all armed with our phones, right? We all can, go Instagram
Yeah.
live. Something's happening over here. So, but before, it was a lot more about being the first one to share that, because not everyone was able to just pull out their phones and share what was going on. So I miss a lot about that. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll return into news, but I definitely pine for certain things about news.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
It sounds exciting. I don't know. It sounds exciting. It's just like, do you hear that there's something going on and then
There's always
you
a
have to hop in the car? There's always like a van. A van, and you hop in the van, and I don't know if it's like in the movies, and you get in and you're like 3, 2, 1,
No,
and
yeah.
you're on.
I mean, I did I was an anchor for a short time in Chicago, outside Chicago, in a town called Rockford. I did some on-air anchoring as well. And that's a different kind of fun, but being out in the elements, let's say, is kind of, there are times that it depends on the story, but there are times that it can be really, really an adrenaline rush. And we were just talking about procrastination with my older son, and being a news reporter is great for procrastinators because you don't really have any time to prepare. So you just have to just go sometimes. And so you just gather everything and go, which is essentially what I've always been a lifelong procrastinator. You just, wait till the end and then gather all the information and then do it. So it's kind of like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I'll be looking for the announcement.
Yeah, I'll
start
let you know.
Reporting.
Then you can be like, oh, yeah, she did see my face now again all over. You'll see her face everywhere. Yeah. Anyways, it's great to be here.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I loved. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for listening, watching. If you're watching later, feel free to leave comments. And those of you here, I don't know if we said, you could ask questions here of me and Alison. I can check them. We can check them later. And Alison, let me know if you have questions about Port Angeles, since I can't believe you're going to be going there in a couple of weeks. So, I love it there. Yeah. And I just want to announce that next week we have Eric Brooks. He's going to be my guest. He is a fellow meditation teacher that we're both trained by davidji, and he is an actor. So he was on Days of Our Lives back in the day, and then now he's still an actor. He's also been a nurse. Anyway, so we'll hear his tips. He's going to be our first guy, actually. I've had a string of like amazing women, and I'll have this amazing guy. And I don't know how long I'm going to continue this. I have a long list of friends that were willing to let me interview them. I might take a little bit of break and then continue on. But I've been having fun. As long as it's fun and I'm learning, and I think it might bring value to other people.
I think it's brilliant.
I'll keep doing it. So,
I think you're awesome, and I think you show up not shiny from sweat, but shiny from life. And so well done, Amelia. It's really good to be with you. And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thanks.